Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivraj Kacharya Ashtotar Govinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse number 23. Please repeat after me. Pratyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapaso nagha Pratyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapaso nagha Pratyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapaso nagha. Mataji's. pratyadishtam ordered Maya by me, tatra because of, tvai unto you, karma duty, vimohite being perplexed, tapaha penance, me hridayam heart, sakshat directly, atma life and soul, aham myself, tapasaha of one who is engaged in penance, anagaha O sinless one. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Purport. The penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from Him. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. The living entities are engaged in the conditions of material bondage because of their propensity for overlordships. But by engagement in the devotional service of the Lord, one becomes detached from this enjoying spirit. The devotees automatically becomes detached from worldly enjoyment, and this detachment is the result of perfect knowledge. Therefore, the penance of devotional service includes knowledge and detachment, and that is the manifestation of the transcendental potency. One cannot enjoy material illusory propriety if he desires to return home, back to Godhead. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of the Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time wants to enjoy the material world, he is considered to be a fool only. One who wants to remain here in the material world for material enjoyment has no business entering into the eternal kingdom of God. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. If such a foolish devotee of the Lord tries to recoup his position, then the merciful Lord again snatches away all that he may have possessed. By such repeated failures in material prosperity, he becomes very unpopular with his family members and friends. In the material world, the family members and friends honor persons who are very successful in accumulating wealth by any means. The foolish devotee of the Lord is thus put into forcible penance by the grace of the Lord. And at the end, the devotee becomes perfectly happy. Being engaged in the service of the Lord, therefore penance in devotional service of the Lord, either by voluntary submission or by being forced by the Lord, is necessary for attaining perfection. And thus such penance is the internal potency of the Lord. One cannot, however, be engaged in the penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sins. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Brahmaji was sinless and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord. Tapaha, tapaha. And the Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him the desired result. Therefore only love and penance combined can please the Lord, and thus one is able to attain his complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. It's a very important chapter where we're discussing answers by the Lord. And previous chapter, 8th chapter, was questions by Parikshit Maharaj, where Parikshit Maharaj asked many questions. 21 questions were asked by Parikshit Maharaj in that chapter. Starting with living entity being spiritual, how is it possible to get a material body? And then he went on to ask so many questions about devotees, about yugas, about yuga dharma, about universe, everything, which are the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this chapter, Shukdev Goswami is answering the first question of Parikshit Maharaj. The first 3 verses of this chapter are the answer to the first question of Parikshit Maharaj, that how is it possible for a living entity who is spiritual to have material body? So Shukdev Goswami answers first 3 verses. Then from 4 to 8 in this chapter, he prepares a platform for the conversation of Brahma and the Lord. Then from 9 onwards, like what we are studying here, so 9th to 18 is a description how Lord Brahma saw the spiritual world. And 19 to 24, this is the section where we are reading today verse number 23. So 19 to 24 is Lord expressing his pleasure and inviting Brahma to ask benediction. Then now from 25th onwards up to 32, Brahma will be asking questions. And then 33 onwards, I should say the most important section or very important section of Bhagavatam, Chatushloki Bhagavatam. So 33, 34, 35, 36, 4 verses are very important. That's Chatushloki Bhagavatam. And then up to 38, the Lord will conclude and he disappears. And the last section of this chapter, verse number 39 to 49, is how the same Chatushloki is given in Parampara. So how Brahma spoke to Narad, Narad to Vyasadev, so that Parampara system is given. So that's why a very important chapter, this whole chapter which we are studying. Now the section which we are studying is the Lord is expressing his pleasure and inviting Brahma to ask benediction. And in particular, Lord is speaking about penance, austerity. And here he says, austerity is my heart. In this verse he says, tapo me hridayam sakshat. So it's my heart. So what kind of austerity is the heart of the Lord? Hiranyakashipu also performed austerity. Ravana performed austerity. Does that mean that's heart of the Lord? No. Austerity which is pleasing to the Lord, or we should say austerity to attain the Lord, is the heart of the Lord. And we also see in Bhagavatam that who is in the heart of the Lord? The devotees. Krishna says that sadhava hridayam mahyam, the devotees are in my heart. So if we try to connect this, He says austerity is my heart, and then he also says devotees are in my heart. That means he expects all of us to give up material enjoyment. That's the meaning of Krishna saying here that tapo me hridayam sakshat. That penance is my heart, that is, he is expecting us to give up all material enjoyment or material enjoying tendencies which are keeping us away from Krishna. So it's very important for us to understand that if the austerity which is performed for material desires is not pleasing to Krishna. But we see here, Brahma performed austerity, like Lord is saying that I gave you the knowledge, first ordered you to undergo penances. So he performed for what reason? He wanted to create material world. Is this a material desire or a spiritual desire? Because he is creating material world. And what is he going to create? He is going to create illusions for all of us, put us in illusion. You know, like we all are attached to sense gratification. We don't want to die. We think this life is the only life. We feel that there is soul, maybe there, may not be there. But let's enjoy. All these kind of tendencies, where are they coming from? Brahma. You can blame it to Brahma. So you can say, it's not my mistake. It's all Brahma's mistake. Why? He created illusion in the beginning, right? He created Andhatamishratamishtamaha and all those things. He created. So what is he going to do with creation, entire material creation? Is this a spiritual desire? Why is Krishna happy? Because this desire is given by Krishna to Brahma. That is why even though he is creating the material world, that desire is spiritual. So this is to be understood. Because we can say Brahma also is creating, so that's material desire. Why is Krishna happy? Why is his hridaya? Why is his heart? Because Brahma is creating. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this, that Brahma's desire was given by the Lord. And that is why that is also spiritual. That is pleasing to the Lord. Any desire given by the Lord, even though it may seem material, but that's spiritual desire. Because it's given by the Lord. So any austerity which we perform, it should be to attain the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, it is just a waste of time. No utpadyed yadiratim shrama evahi kevalam. You're just wasting your time in this world if you're not developing attachment to Krishna. So we should see in all our activities, Prabhupada is explaining that devotional service, what we are performing, is actual penance, which is very pleasing to Krishna. Initially, the devotional service may seem penance, but as Prabhupada is mentioning, Prabhupada has divided his purport, the first part as penance done out of happiness or voluntarily accepting penance. The second part, forcibly doing penance. And the third part is conclusion, that you develop love for Krishna. So voluntarily, we all have taken up devotional service. So do we need to perform penances? Because Prabhupada is saying engaging in devotional service is penance. Krishna is happy with that. Yes, but that devotional service should be performed in proper mood. Like, say for example, Prabhupada said, chanting, dancing and feasting, right? That's it. So where is the penance made? You know, Prabhupada never said, okay, we want penance. It's chanting, dancing, feasting. That's what we feel. Of course, Prabhupada is saying this, penance is required. So what is the meaning of chanting, dancing, feasting? Should we follow any austerity? Yes, we follow austerity so that we can chant attentively. We perform austerity so that we can dance in ecstasy. A person who's too attached to material sense enjoyment, as per Padma Puran, can never have attachment to Krishna, can never have ecstasy in devotional service. Akrantam yasya manasam Padma Puran says, whose mind is completely covered by material desires, he can never enjoy the happiness of devotional service. So, if you really want to chant, dance, and feast, you have to perform austerity to come into a proper mood of chanting. So, a devotee, what is an austerity for devotees? Actually, today we have a lot of days. I was told, actually, this morning I heard that we have so many days, and Sankarshan Priya Prabhu said, we are going to hear that in the class. And I didn't even know that. So now he has ordered, so in the given time I will try to cover all those also. So what is an austerity for a devotee? What austerity a devotee should perform? Right? Well, when we are staying in the ashram, when we are in devotional service, what is our austerity? Maybe, eating prasadam can be an austerity. Right? Because we don't like to eat pizza, burger, pasta, but then we get it, and it's such an austerity to eat, isn't it, for all of us? I was telling Prabhuji on Ekadashi day, I saw burger. And I said there were days when on Ekadashi we used to perform austerity. And now we perform austerity with burger, pizza, on Ekadashi. Is it good or bad? If Krishna is accepting, it's good, as long as it is Krishna prasadam. It is not important that we torture our body unnecessarily. Okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to eat this. This is all maya, this is sense gratification. What is important is to give up that feeling, that mood, that tendency of finding faults in others. When we are fasting, it is not that you fast from grains. That itself is Ekadashi. Fasting means fast from criticizing. Fasting means real austerity is to develop qualities, become selfless, become humble, become bold in bhakti. That is real austerity. A Vaishnava should be selfless. What is the meaning of selfless? Sometimes we feel, oh, how can I be selfless? Is it like I'm finishing my existence? No. Not to give up your needs, but to have the needs of the soul is selfless. Not to give up the purpose of your life, but to have the transcendental purpose is being selfless. So a devotee should be selfless. Selfish and selfless. One time in the water, mother fish was talking to baby fish. And the baby fish asked, Mother, why can't we go on the earth? So the mother fish said, water is for fish and earth is for selfish. Is it? We are supposed to become selfless, so that at least the fishes start glorifying us. That okay, it's not for selfish people. So a devotee needs to be a selfless, humble. What is humility? Humility is not external. Humility is to prepare your heart for accepting the sweetness of Radha and Krishna in your heart. Humility is to be happy in others' success. So one has to be humble and one has to be bold. Bold means boldly presents the teaching of the acharyas. Be very bold to protect the legacy given by Srila Prabhupada. That's being bold. Bold doesn't mean take a sword and go to the market and start killing people. I'm a very bold person. Bold is to accept your flaws. What are my shortcomings? How can I take this movement ahead? How boldly I can protect the teachings of the Acharya so that I can pass it on to the next generation. It is our duty. That's called parampara. So a devotee should be humble, bold, selfless. And becoming that is the austerity. Becoming selfless is an austerity. Becoming humble is an austerity. That's the austerity which pleases Krishna. Become renounced. Mahaprabhura bhakta ganera vairagya pradhan jaha dekhi priti haina gaura bhagavan. That's what he expects. Vairagya. He becomes very happy. Mahaprabhu becomes very happy when he sees vairagya in our heart. So this is what is required as we talk about the penances here. And when we talk of bhakti, we all are performing bhakti. But we may be performing bhakti in ignorance, bhakti in passion, bhakti in goodness. Prabhupada explains that bhakti can be in these modes. Although we say bhakti is transcendental, cannot be affected by modes, but the person performing is affected by modes. So when we perform bhakti out of anger, with envy, to harm someone, it is bhakti in ignorance. We are praying to Radha Gokulananda. That person has troubled me a lot. See to it that he never lives happily. Ignorance. You're trying to harm someone. You're trying to show your anger. Bhakti in passion, where you just want some name and fame. People should say, and I'm sure all of you will say, Atul Krishna Prabhu, very nice lecturer. Yes. I'll say, okay, give him 2 gulab jamuns extra or something like that. Bhakti for name and fame. Now we are performing devotional service, so I should become famous, I should get some material honor. That's passion. And bhakti done out of duty, sense of duty, but yes, offering all the results to Krishna, but still maintaining some material desires is bhakti in goodness. But we are supposed to perform nirguni bhakti. Not with all these things. So, bhakti should be where we are just trying to please the Lord, trying to take His shelter completely. When we take the shelter, then this material things, this material desires, like Bhagavatam says, Samashritaye padpallavam plavam mahat padam punyayasho murare bhavam budhirvats padam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. So vipada, what is the vipada of bhakti? What are the obstacles of bhakti? This material enjoyment, this propensity to enjoy, this propensity to satisfy your own senses. That's lust. Atmendriya priti ichha tare bali kam, Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanam. So we have to shift our mood from lust to love. So this is the austerity which Prabhupada is speaking about here. And when we talk of austerity, Hanumanji teaches us. Today is Hanuman Jayanti. So Hanumanji teaches us how to perform austerity in bhakti. He's the example of the devotee, greatest devotee. And he shows us the path. So Hanumanji, when he was going to Lanka, he, by just one jump, he told us what kind of qualities we should develop. So he was jumping, he saw the Mainak Parvat coming out, the mountain made of gold. And he said, oh, you're going to do such a big task. Why don't you rest for some time? Let me offer you some service. I'm very grateful to you that you're doing such service to the Lord. Let me give you some comforts. Please take some rest and then you can go. Hanumanji just touched and he said, sorry, right now I'm on duty. I'm on service, I cannot take a rest. So very nice instruction Hanumanji gives that when you perform bhakti, you'll get lot of opulences, you'll get lot of comforts, you'll get lot of facilities. Don't get attracted. Don't be attached. Always think you need Aram or you need Ram. Aram is comfort, right? And Ram is Lord Ram. So don't be attached. You'll get facility. And we do get, right? You're a brahmachari, you're a sannyasi, and the kind of facilities you get, even grahasthas, they don't get sometimes. Like many times in our temple, they come and tell that, even we don't have such nice prasadam in our house. What do you have it here? And you get everything. Best of the cars, best of the food, best of the living arrangement, right? We go anywhere, people are paying obeisances, honor. What else a person needs, right? You see? Honor. Every time you have the garland and this and that. But these are just because we are performing devotion service. So be attached to the service, not to the facility. Hanumanji gives the first austerity. That's what we should do. And it's really an austerity. If you're getting all the things, you're getting honor, you're getting all the facilities, and then not to be attached to it. Just to say, okay, we slowly get attached in the name of service. Yeah, it is required. This is required for me. Because how will I perform service? Without laptop, what is the use of devotional life? Isn't it? At least laptops, smartphones. This is true. The brahmacharis, they're not supposed to be married, but brahmacharis have children. The mobile, whenever it cries, they take it and, yeah, very nice. And then sannyasis have wives. Laptop. They cannot move around without that. Isn't it? I'm sorry, Maharaj. So, Hanumanji is teaching, you'll get a lot of facilities. Just be renounced. See, this is Maya. You're trying to go away. You're saying, I don't want. Maya said, no, why not? Please take. If you run after that, you will never get it. That story. A sadhu went to the king and he said, the king said, how can I be happy? I just want to be happy in my life. How can I be happy? So sadhu said, just go out in the garden and try to catch a butterfly. So he said, what's a big deal for that? I said, you go. So he went out, he was running, he couldn't catch butterfly. Maybe children can do it, but the king has never done it, so he couldn't catch. Finally he was tired, he sat down there, and then the butterfly came and sat on the shoulder. So sadhu said, till you keep running behind happiness, you're not going to get it. But when you give it up, and then the happiness comes on its own. And this is we have seen. As long as you keep running after the material enjoyments, you have so much trouble, anxiety, But you give it up. I don't want. Become a brahmachari and a sannyasi. Everything comes to you. All the facilities comes to you. So Hanumanji is teaching, don't be attached. Attached to the service. Of course, for service, whatever is needed, you should take. When Prabhupada was going in a very opulent car, the reporter asked, Swamiji, you are a sannyasi, you are a renounced man, so why are you using this car? Prabhupada said, what is this car? It's a box of tin. You should give me a golden car. Why? I'm representing Krishna. Not that he said, I'm something great. He said, I'm representing Krishna, so you should have a car made of gold for me. What is this box of tin you're giving it to me? So yes, of course, we shouldn't say that. Okay, I need a car made of gold because I'm going for preaching. But the mood is that yes, whatever is available, so if the facilities are available, we utilize in service of Lord, not to be attached to it. The second thing Hanumanji says, when he goes, there is another demoness who opens her mouth and says, you cannot go, I have a benediction. So you cannot go unless you enter my mouth. Hanumanji says, I'm busy, I cannot. I'll come back after my service and then I'll enter. She said, no, I will not allow. So she opened her mouth wide. Hanumanji also grew in size. And she further opened her mouth. Hanumanji grew. It went on. So her mouth was from ocean to the clouds, to the sky. And Hanumanji also grew so high. And when she was like this, opened her mouth, Hanumanji became such small, went into her mouth and came out. And he said, Tata, bye-bye, I'm going now. Condition is fulfilled, right? But he's teaching a very nice instruction for devotees that, when we are together, we always want to prove who is greater, right? So she was opening her mouth wide, Hanumanji was becoming bigger, and she again was doing. So most of the time we do that. And then he's teaching, what is the solution? Become humble. We talk about Trinavarta, demon Krishna killed. So Trinavarta is same. Trinavarta was going high and high and high and high. So how to kill the Trinavarta? His name is Trinavarta. And for killing him, we need to become Trinavat. Trina means straw. Trinavat. So become humble. So Hanumanji is teaching, as long as you go on proving yourself, I'm right, that's not correct. A devotee should not be bothered about proving who's right, who's wrong. He should be bothered who's Krishna conscious. That's important. So Hanumanji is teaching that. See, these are austerity of devotional service. To have the opulences and not to be attached to it, use it in Krishna's service. To have this mood of being very humble, Trinavat. Don't become Trinavart, but become Trinavat, like a straw. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnunam amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That is what required. Then Hanumanji goes further, and then there is the demoness who's catching the shadow. Hanumanji is flying, he's not able to fly, and she catches the shadow and then he's not able to fly. That's another instruction by Hanumanji, where he's explaining that how in our devotional life we always see the dark side of the person. And the process is to see the good qualities and appreciate. That's a quality of a Vaishnava, that's a quality of Lord Shiva. Mother Sati explains this in the 3rd canto, where she is about to give her life, where she is about to burn herself in the sacrifice of Daksha. She has given 10 instructions there for all of us, especially about fault finding. Because she criticized the father. She's saying, you are finding fault in Shiva? His name means auspiciousness, Shiva. And then she goes on to, if you read it, it looks like a conversation between daughter and father. But there are 10 instructions given how we should not have this fault-finding tendency in us. Fault-finding tendency means catching the shadow. That's fault-finding. You go to someone's house, you see the wall very nicely painted, and suppose he has left one small piece, somewhere it's left, it's not painted. What happens to you? Do you see the beautiful wall, or do you point out to that, what is this? Because that's our tendency. We won't glorify the wall, we will just see that thing. So we have to give that up. Fault-finding tendency. This is the austerity and devotional service which one should perform. Because fault-finding is a favorite sport, right? For all of us as devotees. This has to be given up. So Hanumanji, and finally he reaches Lanka. And there he finds Lankini. She stops. You cannot enter. Hanumanji pleaded. He said, I'm a monkey, I've stayed in forest, I've never seen such a big palaces and all those things. So I would like to see this kingdom of Ravana. Please let me go in. She said, no. So after 2-3 times pleading, when she didn't hear, Hanumanji slapped her. She went rolling down there. And she came back, folded her hands, and she told Hanumanji, welcome to Lanka. Brahmaji had told me, when a monkey will come and slap you, that will be the end of Ravan. So please, come. So this is Hanumanji saying how bold we should be in preaching. Slapping Of course, not literally. We are not going to slap those who are going to oppose us, but slap them with your knowledge, defeat them. Prabhupada writes in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita that if you read Bhagavad Gita, everything is there in Bhagavad Gita and you can defeat anyone in the world just by reading Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita as it is, not just by reading Bhagavad Gita. So, we should be bold enough. Hanumanji is teaching, when you are preaching, preachers should be like this. They should be bold enough to present the truth. So Hanumanji is teaching. There are a lot of other things to speak about Hanumanji, but the time is up and here it is written. Class finishes at 8:30 a.m. Yes. And also there was, I was supposed to speak on Shamananda Prabhu. And can I 5 minutes if it's okay, if I can speak for Shamananda Prabhu? So Shamananda Prabhu, his father named him Dukhiya. Dukhi means miserable. So his name was Dukhiya. Why? Because earlier parents had lost many sons and children, so they were anyway, when he was born, they said, name him Dukhiya, he'll remain unhappy, so Yamraj will not take him. So Dukhi. So anyway, he wanted to, so his father one time wanted him to go for initiation, and then he said, I would like to take from Hriday Chaitanya. So Hriday Chaitanya, he's a disciple of Gauridas Pandit. Gauridas Pandit is a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. Such a great devotee, he could chastise Lord Chaitanya. It's a nice pastime that one time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu came to his house, he fed them nicely, gave them prasadam, and then they were about to leave and he said, no, I don't want you to leave, I want you to stay here only. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu turned into deity. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu started walking. So there was a deity and there was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, no, I want you. I don't want these deities. You stay. So then they stayed and the deity started walking. He was such an exalted devotee. One time the deities were there and then Kirtan was going on in his courtyard and Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he can't wait when the Kirtan goes on. So he ran in the Kirtan. And so the Gauridas Pandit with the stick ran behind him. How dare you go, leaving this, I'm about to offer you. And then Mahaprabhu got scared and he entered the heart of this Hriday Chaitanya. That's why his name is Hriday Chaitanya. Who has Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his heart. Hriday means heart, Chaitanya means Lord Chaitanya. So then he entered. And that Hriday Chaitanya is a spiritual master of Shamananda Prabhu. Or he gave him the name Krishna Das. So Dukhi Krishna Das was his name. And he sent him to Jiva Goswami for further studies. So Jiva Goswami, when he came, he asked, what service should I do? He said, take up the broom and start cleaning the place where Lord Krishna performed Rasa Leela. So he was just cleaning that every day and he was enjoying. One day he found ankle bell, very famous incident. So he found ankle bell and he kept it with him, thinking that whenever the person who owns will come, I'll give. And this was Radharani's. So the Sakhis came looking for it and he saw him doing, cleaning the place and he said, hey, did you get any ankle bell? He said, yes, I did. So give it to us. Who are you? Oh, we are cowherd girls. But does it belong to you? No, it belongs to my friend. She had come here to pick flowers and somehow it got lost here. So he said, no, call your friend, I'll give her only, not you. They requested a lot, but he refused. So finally Radharani had to come. I'm sorry, I'm going very quick. This is a wonderful pastime. So finally Radharani had to come. And Radharani, when he saw Radharani, obviously, what can happen to a person, devotee, when he sees Radharani, he paid obeisances. And Radharani blessed him. And that is the time when he saw Radharani and then he saw Radhakund. So he took bath in Radhakund, came out as a gopi. And then went to Radharani. And Radharani took that ankle bell and made a nice tilak on his forehead, permanent tilak. And then When Radharani disappeared, he saw he got his male form back. So that's the name given by Radharani, Shamananda. Said from now on you won't be known as Dukhi Krishnadas, you will be Shamananda. Shamananda means one who gives happiness to Radharani, Shama Nanda. So, and then when he came back, he had this tilak, different tilak, which is not our Gaudiya Vaishnava tilak. And Jiva Goswami saw, and Jiva Goswami said, what's going on? So he said, I'm sorry, but this is what happened. So Jiva Goswami said, don't tell anyone, just be like that. Bas, it's not good to say like that. You see, these are our acharyas. You know, he could have said, go and glorify, put it on Facebook, WhatsApp, Insta, you know. Radharani has blessed you. He said, don't tell anyone, just keep quiet. So he was like that, he didn't say anyone. And then people started talking, what is this, what tilak is he wearing? And the news went to his spiritual master, who thought, how dare? You know, he has given up our sampradaya. Tilak is a mark of sampradaya. We wear different tilaks. That's why we don't change our tilak. Don't think tomorrow you feel that this tilak is better, so let me wear this tilak, or that is better. This is for our sampradaya, we wear that only. So he was very angry, Hridaya Chaitanya. Oh, he has given up. How dare he? He came all the way from Bengal to Vrindavan. It took him months to come, but he came just to chastise his disciple. How can he give up? So he came and Shamananda went to meet and he chastised him left and right. What is this? And he couldn't say because Jiva Goswami had told him, don't tell anyone. So he couldn't say what happened. And he was just quiet. You see, such nice things we learned from Shamananda Prabhu's life, how to take chastisement from spiritual master. He didn't say, hey, what do you think? I didn't do, I've met Radharani. Have you met ever Radharani? He was very humble. He said, I'm sorry. It's just like that. He didn't say anything. And he kept on chastising him. That this is not, I didn't send you for this and that. How did you change your tilak? And what is this going on? And you changed your name, Shamananda. How is it? Without asking spiritual master, you have changed your name. Obviously, he'll be angry. And then in the dream, in that night, Hridaya Chaitanya saw Radharani. And Radharani was very angry. He said, I have given that name. I have given that tilak. Who are you? When I was reading this, I thought how fortunate the spiritual master is. Because of the disciple, he could take darshan of Radharani. It happens sometimes, right? Ramanujacharya also said the same thing. One of his disciples got the benediction from the Lord that you will come back, and not only you, whoever is connected to you will come back to me. And when Ramanujacharya heard, he started dancing. Everyone said, what happened? He said, didn't you hear? He said, anyone connected to him will go back. And he's my disciple. I'm connected to him. So I'll also go back home, back to Godhead. In that sense, we as disciples should see to it that we act in a way by which our spiritual master is proud of us. So then, Shamananda Prabhu then the next day morning was called by Hridaya Chaitanya, and he was like in ecstasy and embraced him, and wow, this, because Radharani told what had happened. So that's Shamananda Prabhu. And of course there are a lot of things to say about Balaram. Rasa Yatra is also there. Balaramji performed Rasa Yatra, but his set of gopis were different. Not the gopis with whom Krishna performed the Rasa Leela. There's a very nice temple when we do Govardhan Leela, Govardhan Parikrama. There's a temple on top of Govardhan Hill. In the local language there, they call him Luka Luka Dauji temple. Luka Luka means one who is hiding. So actually when Krishna was performing Rasa Leela, Vasanta Ras, in Govardhan, Balramji wanted to come. But how is it possible? Elder brother will come, how will Krishna perform Rasa Leela? So he didn't come. He was on the hill, Govardhan Hill, he was there and he bent down and he was trying to look. So that deity is still there on that temple. Balramji, Dauji looking down when the Krishna was performing pastime. So Balramji also performed pastime, and there are a lot of things, chastisement of Yamuna, etc. during that time. So some other time we will speak about that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. I'm sorry to take 8 minutes extra. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.